What's up guys, welcome back to Pat Outdoors. Today we're putting together a brand new bike that I just got. What's different about this one is it's the highest voltage E-Moto that I've had the chance to test out on this channel. I have a bunch of 60 volt and 72 volt bikes in this garage, but this one is supposed to be rated 88 volts nominal, 100 volts fully charged. So I'm expecting it to have a pretty high top speed and a good amount of power. So I'm super excited. Let's go take this thing out of the box and put it together. All right, let's see if I can do this by myself. Here's how the bike came assembled right out of the box. Here's everything else that came with it. Front wheel is a 19-inch, comes with some knobbies on there. Disc rotor is pretty heavy duty. It's a lot thicker than a mountain bike brake. It's like 4 millimeters thick. It's almost like a motorcycle disc brake rotor. Front fender, similar style to what comes with a Sur-Ron. Rear fender, this is a 10 amp charger. Max charge is 100 volts. Of course, the cables for the charger, the right foot peg, the left side came already pre-mounted, and a toolkit. I actually just found another bag of hardware, just 3 Allen bolts and some inserts I believe are for the front fender to mount it to the bottom of the fork. I'm gonna start off by mounting the rear shock. Since the top of it is already mounted, just gonna put the bolt through the bottom and throw the rear fender on, work our way from the back of the bike to the front. Make sure you don't lose these 2 spacers that go on the shock bolt. One plastic spacer goes in between the swing arm mount and the shock itself. And then for the peg on the right side, you just have to line it up to this post right here. Then you're gonna put the washer and nut on the back side. The only way to access it, if you have it on a stand, is with a wrench. Luckily, I have a ratcheting one just to speed things up. Just make sure there's plenty of slack on all the wiring. Nothing's pinched between the handlebar mount and the triple tree. Then we'll torque everything down. Just a small note for the manufacturer. If you are going to include a tool set, please include a higher quality toolkit, just because the Allen keys that came with this bike stripped out so easily. This is by hand. These 2 rubber grommets are actually for brake line mounts. I'll show you how those work in a minute. Make sure there's plenty of slack on the line, so when the suspension compresses, it doesn't make contact with anything or bind. I'm not going to torque down the pinch bolts on the fork just yet until we get it down and compress the fork some, just to make sure there's no binding, and then we'll torque these down. Plug at the bottom of the seat is actually for the NFC sensor. It's going to leave that plugged in. The battery does not come connected when it's shipped. Just going to take the piece of tape off and we're going to connect it. Then the seat is secured by 2 Allen bolts on the bottom side. I believe we are done. I'm gonna hook this thing up to the charger, then we'll go over all the features of this bike. Charge port is here to the left of the frame. So it came shipped 91.8 volts and it's charging at 9.9 amps right now. I'm gonna let this charge for at least 6 hours or so. I wanna make sure that the battery is fully charged before we take this out for the first time. This is the all-new ES by Extreme Wheel. They might sound like a new company in the E-Moto space, but Extreme Wheel is actually owned by Begode, which has certainly been around for, I believe, 8 or 9 years. They specialize mostly on performance unicycles, but they're launching a few different bikes that are supposed to compete with the Talaria and Sur-Ron market. This specific ES is configured for off-road use, so it's got the 19-inch front and 18-inch rear wheel with knobby tires on there, but I believe they do offer the ES in a street model as well, which will come with 17-inch front, 17-inch rear wheels with street tires on them. And they're also offering a different rear sprocket with it. I believe it's gonna be taller gearing, so the speed targeted is supposed to be around 65 to 66 miles per hour with that bike. But this bike has the bigger rear sprocket, which is geared more for torque. It's got some really beefy brakes on there. These are like 4mm thick rotors with dual piston calipers front and rear, which is certainly a lot larger than what you would find on a Sur-Ron or a Talaria. Here's a close-up on my stock XXX brakes for comparison. It's like 1/3 of the size of the calipers on this bike. This also runs on some .4 brake fluid with some motorcycle style brake master cylinders, similar to what you would find on an Ultra B. Some of the listings online say that it's got 4 piston calipers, but I'm only seeing 2. And the rear is also dual piston, so it may have just been a typo. I saw a couple of the earlier videos with people reviewing the prototype model, which had fast A suspension on it, but the production model actually has a D&M burner rear shock, similar to what you would find on a Talaria, and a D&M fork. The front fender is similar to what you would find on a Sur-Ron Light BX. This bike comes standard with an LED headlight with a couple different modes. The white is ideal for nighttime and the yellow is ideal for foggy situations. It's also got a horn, turn signals, LED tail lamp with a functional brake lamp and turn signals to match the front. As far as drivetrain, this has a 5,000 watt motor over here, which has a peak output of 10,000 watts. It's direct drive, so the chain is directly connected from the rear sprocket to the motor. There's no intermediate shaft or belts in place. It has a 150 amp controller with a peak output of 230 amps. The power is supplied by a 40 amp hour lithium battery pack in here, which shows 100 volts fully charged, which is 88.8 volts nominal. The battery is using some Samsung 50S cells. The charge port is right here on the top of the frame, so you don't have to take the rear seat off like you do on the XQi3. To turn the bike on, you just use the NFC bracelet that's included with the bike. Just like that, and you turn it off the same way. They also include an NFC key tag similar to the XXX. As far as controls, it's actually very minimal going on here. Just the throttle, which is activated immediately. The kickstand doesn't have a sensor, which I don't really mind because those things typically break when you're on the trail. On the left side hand controls, we got the headlight, so you can cycle through the different modes, turn signals. M is for mode switching. You just click it twice to cycle through the different modes. There are actually 4 different levels. And then on the bottom here, you got the horn. This bike also has the safety kill switch on the right side. So you have the option of wrapping this around your wrist. In case you fall off the bike, it'll completely deactivate the throttle. Something I noticed on this bike as soon as I turned it on is that there seems to be some sort of humming noise coming from this area. I don't know if you can hear that. It almost sounds like there's a fan for either the controller or the battery. Comment below if you happen to know what that is. All right, my buddy Elmer is here. So we're not riding alone today. He's gonna be on the Talaria XXX, and I'm gonna be on the new ES. Dude, this thing is torquey as hell. And we are at the lowest power level right now. Distance on mode 1. I wonder what this thing could do in the mode 4. So it got to 48 miles per hour pretty quickly, but I don't see this hitting 55 in the way it's configured. Let's see, switch back to 4. Yeah, it's just got so much torque. Right out of the box, it goes 49 miles per hour. I know they do have an app that allows you to connect to the controller and make some changes to the tunes, activate field weakening to get more RPMs out of the motor and get higher speed. I'm actually going to get with my buddy Frey to get some help on the tuning, but I just want to see how it rides right out of the box. Acceleration's really aggressive on this bike. It's got so much torque, but I think for my type of riding, I would prefer to go with slightly taller gearing and get a little bit more top speed in with the trade-off of losing a little bit of the low-end torque, because the torque is a lot. Right now we're going 25. I kind of have to lean forward for it not to try to pop a wheelie. This is more ideal for off-road riding. Like if I was in an off-road trail right now, this would have all the torque I need to do all the hill climbs. The initial impressions though, bike rides really smooth. I think the tune on the throttle is really predictable and super modular, so you can see it's not jumpy at all. And this is on the highest power setting. I think the torque rolls in really smoothly. So it accelerates really hard, but it's super manageable at the same time. So that's definitely a plus for the Extreme Wheel ES so far. Though I definitely want to turn up the speed a little bit more.
Can you do a burnout with this?
Oh! I should probably save the rest of the rear tire until we do the off-road test, which we'll be doing on an upcoming video. So what do I think so far about the Extreme Wheel ES? I think it's a ton of fun, and I'm pretty sure this is the most powerful electric dirt bike under $4,000 as of right now. Comment below if you happen to know of another bike that has a higher than 10,000 watts of power output. It's not the fastest though. It only goes 49 miles per hour for the meantime, but it gets there super quick since it's got a ton of torque. But I am planning quite a few changes for this bike in the upcoming videos, such as connecting to the controller, doing a firmware update, making some changes to the gearing, and getting this thing to go over 60 miles per hour. I think it rides super smooth right out of the box. I didn't even touch any of the clickers for the shock or the fork. I just want to see how it performs right out of the box on and off-road before we make any sort of changes. I think it's got plenty of braking power. I don't see a reason to upgrade that, though I'm not a big fan of how the brake levers feel. I just think that the brake levers feel a little bit clunky and have a decent amount of slop to it, in comparison to my stock Talaria brakes, which have a shorter range of motion and it's got a lot less slop and just smoother operation overall. One thing I'm not too excited about with the off-road test is getting mud slung all over my back. As you can see, this bike doesn't have a rear fender, so there's nothing keeping debris from getting slung over the seat. One more thing I wish I could change on this bike is the display. I could barely see it if I'm riding in the daytime, so I wish that was just a little bit brighter. As far as how it looks, I think the green's just a little bit too loud for me. I wish they offered it in a couple different colors to choose from. I think I'm gonna remove at least the green on the wheels It'll look a lot cleaner that way. The futuristic prototype look kind of reminds me of a Tesla Cybertruck in a way, and it's actually starting to grow on me. So I'm tempted to wrap this green portion under the seat, brushed aluminum, to give this thing even more of a Cybertruck futuristic look. Let me know what you think of that idea. If you want to get more information on the Extreme Wheel ES, I'll have a link to their website in the description below. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you like this kind of content, want to keep up with some of my projects or some of my product reviews, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn your bell notification on. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching.